Hello and welcome to Blues View. I'm Paul Bradley and I'm joined on the phone now by Birmingham City correspondent Colin Tatham. Hi Colin.
Hello.
Well, today we're going to be chatting a bit about the January transfer window and just how disruptive that can be on a football squad and its team. And also we're taking a quick look ahead to the Blackpool and West Ham fixtures. But first of all, Colin, there's been a lot of talk about the January transfer window already, but what sorts of players do you think Chris Hughton may be looking at in the January transfer window?
Well, in a nutshell, Paul, it will be basically, as I speak at this moment, loans and people he can afford. And it is all to do with what sort of offers they get for their own players. And if any of those players are sold, then obviously Chris Hughton would have to replace in certain areas. But in terms of people expecting exciting names, big signings, money being splashed out by Blues, that's just not going to happen. It's well documented, the financial struggle, and the widespread understanding is that in order to keep the club going, then some money has to be generated, and you could lose one or two players. So rather than sort of, everyone getting, unfortunately, excited about the incomings, it's more a case of who they can hang on to and how creative Chris Hughton can be, as and when those decisions are made on outgoing transfers.
Now, the Blues have obviously got some exciting youngsters coming through, the likes of Nathan Redmond, Jordan Murch and so on. Do you think if Hughton was to go into that loan market, he'd be looking for inexperienced players who are going to bring a bit of spark to the squad, or do you think it's the sort of players who have got a bit of experience, or like you just said, is it simply just down to who's affordable at the time?
Yeah, I think again, any loan player coming in would have to add something to the squad, whether that be an injection of sort of pace and mobility up front, or basically somebody with a bit of know-how and experience who knows that league and can say, for example, can find the back of the net. The problem is as well that if you're looking at sort of players from Premier League clubs, then their wages are going to be high, and that is another issue that Blues will have to sort of contend with. And again, going back to one of the fears that everybody has got is those young players, as you say, Nathan Redmond, Jordan Murch, and Jack Butland, who I believe that there will be quite a few of the big boys coming in to try it on with Blues for Butland. His reputation is growing by the week. He's England under-21 goalkeeper, and he is, although he's not played a first-team game yet for Blues, he is arguably their major asset at the moment. And if it came to a point whereby they had to sell him, then it would be, it would be sort of shattering morale-wise. So that's going to be a very interesting scenario to monitor and watch in the coming weeks.
Sure, there's obviously a few scenarios that are going to be playing here with players probably in the market for maybe leaving. People have mentioned the likes of Nicola Zigic and Liam Ridgewell, for example. Just how disruptive can it be on Birmingham City, though, and this January transfer window, while it's open, the speculation and the offers coming in potentially for players? What sort of effect and how difficult is it for Chris Hughton and his team?
It's not easy, and as we saw in the summer, there was so much turmoil and there were so many players exiting and obviously the problems with Carson Young as well. It was really disruptive, and once the window closed, then it did enable the manager to settle down with a squad and all of them to move forward together going the same way. And lo and behold, a few months down the line, he's going to have to cope with the same sort of situation with that sort of speculation, as you say, maybe one or two going and then having to be diligent himself to try to get people in if they are available. And of course also he has to make decisions on a couple of loan players he's got himself in Chris Wood and Gideon Andor. Both of their loans are up on January the 5th. So it's not an easy time for any manager really, the January window, but for a club in Blues' current predicament, it really is going to be one of these make or break few weeks, because as you say, they're trying to sort of push on and mount a promotion push now they're out of the Europa League. And I think once the January window has closed. That can't come soon enough for Chris Hughton and the club.
Now, you mentioned there that kind of fairly key kind of period of time now of whether Birmingham City do make that push for the promotion playoffs, or they do get stuck or maybe even bogged down in mid-table. The next two games, Blackpool and West Ham, both fairly tricky. What do you see as a decent points haul from those?
Well, I think, with Blues' unbeaten home record, have only conceded 4 goals as well. They've got to be looking at back-to-back wins there. The West Ham game is going to be very interesting. They've won 7 on the road, but, they've got the best away record in the Championship, so it's going to be a very, very ding-dong affair, that one. But Blues have got to be looking to make their home games count, especially as away themselves. They're not having the best of times and the best of luck, and they're just not digging out the results that they need to. They're only 6 points from the playoff zone, but all of a sudden the games in hand will begin to run out, so they've got to sort of start motoring, and what better way over Christmas to give everybody a nice little lift, and get the feel-good factor going again with back-to-back wins, and really they've got to be looking and targeting that.
Okay, Colin, well, thank you for your thoughts today, and thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back in the new year, so we wish you all a happy Christmas and a happy new year, and we'll see you all in 2012.